Hello, everyone. Good evening. So, today I have lovely Andressa joining me for the IG live stream, and we are going to talk about being an artist. I think it's a quite interesting topic to discuss, and it's definitely a topic that I'm interested in discussing. So, let me just invite Andressa in. Begin. Right.
Hello.
So nice to see you. It's so sunny.
Yeah, here there's quite a good light now.
Still have the sun. It's sunset here already, so it's completely dark.
Yeah,
So
we still get a 1 hour and a half of sun here.
yeah.
That's what I love about summer in Germany. It can be very long. In really high summer, it's going to be dark, really dark at 11 only.
Yeah, here it's like I think 8-ish and it's already like dark. Yeah, I think 8 o'clock.
Yeah, but
Past eight.
therefore you have amazing beaches and views everywhere.
There's different perks of yeah, I never actually before when I lived in London I never actually realized that obviously the sun sets at different times in different countries. I obviously just never really thought about it. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
for me it was a huge shock. No, I come from Brazil and we,
yes.
we don't get this super long days as here. Also, we don't have that short days during winter because here it's just a tiny little bit of sun during winter and then it can be a bit depressing.
Yeah. If you compare to Brazil 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so I think I introduced the theme to everyone, and I mean, I'm actually really excited about this because I haven't done an IG live stream specifically on like being an artist. It's
Hmm.
around, sort of, having a business, sketching, and so on. And of course, we're going to talk about that today as well. But I think it's going to be a very interesting discussion. So I don't know whether I should start with my questions to you or how should you like to go about it? We're just going to alternate.
Maybe we can mix it up, you make one question and make another. I think then it's a bit
Yeah,
dynamic.
I
Yeah,
think.
I'm also very excited because this is the first live I made in English. So I just making my Instagram for Brazil because I have this project about biophilic design.
Yeah.
And then I kind of spread out this message about biophilic design in Brazil. And yeah, that's all I did just there. So I was quite shy here to show my
Oh,
face, talk in English. This is like a big challenge for me, but it's time to go through this.
oh, I mean, to be honest, every single person who I had doing lives, it was their first time. So you're not the first one to have your first IG live stream with me. And I mean, your English is great, so you shouldn't worry about that whatsoever. So I think maybe I can start with my question to you, perhaps, because I'm very curious to know because I can see that you are both an artist and an interior designer, or I don't know if you're studying interior design at the moment, or
I finished already. I study here in Germany. It's like Institut für Innenarchitektur, and this is the Interior Architecture Institute in Germany. That's where I studied.
great. Okay, so
Mhm.
you completed that. Well, congratulations.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, so was you an artist first, or was it like vice versa? How did it sort of happen? How did you end up studying interior design?
Yeah, I was definitely an artist first, and it was like I was moving from Brazil to Germany 3 years ago.
Mm.
And I was living in this place in Brazil, South Brazil actually. Florianópolis is the name of the city. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a big city and it's an island at the same time and has more than 40 beaches. And it's beautiful, it's a piece of paradise and has the whole structure of a big city at the same time. So I was about to move to here and I met this girl there, Kelly, and she was actually hosting a workshop for mandalas, a mandala workshop. And I decided, okay, I think this is a great moment for me because it was my last 2 days in this city in Florianopolis. I was living there for 3 years already. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay, maybe I can use this in Germany as a meditation, as something to do in my free time, because, I was coming here just to study the language. And then I thought, okay, it's going to be a bit boring for me because I was running my business back in Florianopolis and doing a lot of things at the same time. And then I was, okay, I will go for it. And then when I was there, I was like very afraid of committing mistakes, of my bad skills for sketch. And she was like, don't worry, like it doesn't require any abilities. You can just come with your heart and everything is going to be fine. And actually I fell in love with the mandalas. And that was the beginning because I always wanted to paint. I always wanted to do something, but I never thought I was talented enough, that I had the skills. And this mandalas opening this world for me, and I really fell in love. And then once I moved to here, I started to paint as a hobby, just to keep my mind sane. and
Yeah.
and then I fell in love with this because mandalas, they are also a meditation, a kind of active meditation. And then you can learn so much about yourself through this process because it's all about self-knowledge, and it's all about learning from the colors, the effect they have on us, the effect they have on the environment where we use them. And then I start to fall in love with this whole connection between colors, interiors, and that's how I end up studying interior design. Because then I also realized that the environment where we are has a huge impact in our lives, in our
Yeah.
mood, and so on. So my first graduation was actually, I am actually an environmental scientist, and I worked many years in Brazil as environmental consultant.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so sustainability, all this preservation, this was always a big topic for me.
Mm.
So I kind of put everything together now because I can use my skills as an artist. I can use my skills and my experience as an environment consultant into the interior design.
Nice. So you basically have like three professions, right? Free.
Yes.
I'm actually wondering, is this a mandala? Because
Yes,
obviously,
definitely. I
yeah,
saw it. I saw in other stories that you were sharing the other day. Oh, look a mandala behind her.
yeah, because I mean, this is an Airbnb that we're renting out, and there's a Buddha here. So I think the host really is into like yoga, probably.
Nice.
He's got this design, and yeah, I sort of like thought, oh, I'll just sit here and ask you if this is
Exactly.
mandala.
It is a
Yeah,
mandala. Mandala,
yeah.
usually it's a symmetric form. It can be round, it can be a square. There is other formats, like cards. There is plenty of formats, but this is definitely a mandala.
Ah, nice. I guess you sort of answered my second question as well about sort of when did you start? Actually, it was a few years ago, did you say? You moved to Germany, was it 3 years ago?
Yes, yes, but this I didn't start it because I was there participating in this workshop
Mm.
as a student, let's
But-
say.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Here
Makes
in Germany, I start with my workshops a bit later because, okay, then I went through this time studying, learning the language. And then last year, I was working in this bar here, in a beach bar. It's like a mini job. It's how we call, right, in Europe. It's a mini
Mhm.
job, just like you work usually around 40 hours per month. So I got this job in this bar to help a little bit with the expenses here and also
Mhm.
to make friends because I came to a very small region, a small town.
Mm.
So okay, this is a good opportunity to make new friends, also to work in a bar. I always had this, dream about working in a bar, getting to know people, doing
Oh,
cocktails. Yeah.
uh, movie, right? Yeah.
And I really had lots of fun. I really made a lot of friends. And the best thing about this, not the best thing, but one of the best things, it's my boss. He was like very, very, very sweet. He is a very sweet guy, and he opened the doors for me. So this bar, it's actually a beautiful place here in front of the lake, and there was a small beach. And he opened the doors for me there, and he accepted to host
Ah,
exhibition.
yeah, I
And
see
that
that.
was
I
the
saw
beginning.
here, I think, and this place looked stunning. And I thought, is this in Germany or is this in Brazil? I actually thought, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it is here.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Actually, I have a car, and then I made my first cards here,
Ah, yeah,
Rose
yeah, yeah.
Atelier. and I hosted my first exhibition there. And
Nice.
that's how I started. So last year and during summer, when this whole situation was not so bad, we had kind of quite a break during summer here. It was okay, so I was able to do some workshops there. After this exhibition, people got in touch with me. They call me, they email me, and then I hosted a few workshops. And then I also made a few workshops with yoga studios because
Mm,
it's really a great combination, like you said
of course,
before.
definitely.
So yeah, so I made some partnership here with yoga's studios. So then we make these workshops during the whole day, since the morning until the afternoon, or for a weekend with yoga, meditation, mandalas, Ayurveda food, and so on. So it's actually really a really good way to get to know more people. And then these yoga studios, they already have their public, which is great for me because I'm
Mm.
new here. Yeah, that was how I started.
I mean, that's great to be honest, to use your connections as well and to like really sort of get out there and network. And yeah, for instance, like you got this job at the bar and you're using the space, you know, and I think it's the
Exactly.
best way
And
to
it
start.
was for free. He didn't charge me
Exactly. Yeah, because
anything.
good for him, you know, you're hosting, you know, like an activity there, and obviously he trusts you because obviously you're a professional. So, yeah, I mean, this is just the best way. I mean, I have a very similar story as well in that sense. So it's very interesting to know actually that you also did environmental science, and I'm wondering why did you kind of like went into a more creative route? Was there like you always wanted to do it,
I
or you
always wanted.
always wanted?
I always wanted to paint since very young, but I was never very motivated to do it. And
What?
then, yeah, and because I don't want to talk bad things about my family or
Uh,
culture in Brazil. It's not this. My family always supported me, but they always support me to study, to be someone.
yeah,
You need to study, you need to graduate, and you need to, build your life. So they always push me hard. And
yeah.
I graduated really soon. I was 20 years old when I graduated.
Mm.
And then with 21, I opened my own business already. So
Um,
I never had really time, or motivation from outside to go through. Of course, this is not an excuse. I could always go for myself and do it. But yeah, and then in Florianopolis, I always say that the city, it's kind of a magical space because it, it really brought into me all this connection emotionally and also spiritually. And then through this, I start to open myself again.
I,
And then I embraced this artist that I had inside me already.
I see. So now you're kind of developing that, and
Yeah.
that's a very interesting story, actually. Very, should I move on with my questions, or should we
Well,
all?
I think maybe I can make you one question here, because I'm very curious about this, and I think it's also connected with these topics we are talking here. So, when did art become something significant in your life? Do you remember the most impactful first contacts?
Yeah. For me, it was when I'm actually originally from Latvia. Well, I'm half Latvian, half British. My dad is English, and but I was born in Latvia. And I moved to UK when I was 14. So I moved to my dad's place. My parents are divorced basically. So yeah, I moved over to study. So I really
Mm-hmm.
of studying in London. And yeah, so I moved over, but I had no clue obviously what I wanted to do. I just went into school, you know, like a usual teenager does.
Of course.
And yeah, and I remember that art classes was something where I felt very calm and very comforting. I think a lot of people talk about art as being like a therapy, right? And for me, I was always sort of this kind of like restless active person, and at art I could just really like enjoy myself and be in the moment. And yeah, I think it just started then. I just started going to art classes, and then I ended up taking art as A level, and I also took textiles and photography. So I basically surrounded myself with all creative subjects that I could. And basically that's how it started when I moved to the UK. Basically, I think I also needed art to, like you said, you needed art to
It's a
for
You're right. It's totally a therapy to keep your mind sane because it's
Yeah,
such a difficult change when you move from your country.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Especially if you're a teenager as well, and you feel like you don't fit, you know. And I'm around
exactly.
English kids, and I speak with an accent, and I don't understand the slang. I mean, I understood the language, but I couldn't understand the slang words. I mean, all the swearing and stuff. I could maybe a little bit. I got it, but
Yeah.
obviously, I wasn't. I wasn't studying in a British school before, so for me, it was like a complete shock. And yeah, I think art just kept me sane, basically. So that's how it all started.
Wow, crazy. Quite similar, right? I mean,
Yeah,
of course, you were a teenager. I was already a grown up. But anyway, I think art has a very important impact in our lives, and the way we connect through this, it was a
yeah.
bit different because I also believe many people they like to draw and they really,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think everyone loves to draw. They just don't believe in their abilities. They think that, oh, I can't do it, or like you said, they don't have the motivation to do it because people think it's not something that you can monetize and make it as a profession. They think
Exactly.
hobby, right? I actually posted in my story just now about what people think, whether who is an artist. Is it a hobby or is it a profession? I'm 100% sure 90% of people will say
We
hobby.
say hobby,
Yeah.
right? I'm pretty
But
sure too.
yeah, but we'll see. But that's why I'm trying to change this,
Mhm.
this is kind of my purpose, and I think I'm striving towards changing that. I don't like people being very limited and having just one opinion, because
Yeah. Or
you know
having just one profession, right?
yeah,
Because you can do so many things. You don't need to put yourself inside a box, like, okay, what are you, right?
yeah,
I
exactly.
For me, it was really hard when I moved here to Germany because this was always a common question. Every time,
Oh yeah, because Germans are very like set and structured, and
exactly. So they get to
yeah,
know you. So what you study, what you are doing, what you do here, what are you? And I kind of understand because you want to get to know this person a little bit, and this is the way you know, right? But at the same time, I'm so much more than this, I'm not I'm so much more
exactly,
than an artist, than an interior designer. I am Andressa. I have lots of sides of me to show. This is not everything I am. So this
exactly.
this kind of bothers me a lot when I was doing into the social meetings with my husband, and then like the situation happened. This always bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, it still bothers me up to this day. Yeah.
Oh my God, the sun is blinding me now. I think I will try to close because it's actually not the sun directly, it's the reflection in my
Ah,
neighbor's window. I will
yeah.
try to close to see if it gets a little bit better, my blinds here. Let's see. It's not getting too dark. No.
Since we started talking actually about being an artist, I wanted to ask you another question, which is my third question to you, and I'm very curious to know your answer. How do you view artists, these days? Do you see an artist, yeah, as a profession or more as a hobby? What's kind of your opinion, your honest opinion
My
here?
honest opinion, it can be both. Depends. It can be your hobby. There is plenty of people just they are beautiful artists, they are very inspired, and they are just doing as a hobby. But it can be your profession as well. I think it can be both because the moment you make from your hobby a business, then it stopped to be a hobby
Oh
because
yeah,
it's it's not that I don't get the pleasure of painting and teaching
yeah,
and doing workshops. It's not this, but
it's
then it becomes something serious. So you need to be very careful because also you are being a person on the spot. You need to be careful with the message you are showing around, and you need to be very careful about many things. So I think it's important to see yourself as a professional now and not as someone just doing a hobby.
just
I
doing,
know
yeah,
there's a lot of people doing this as a second income, like an extra, and this is perfectly all right, but this is not a hobby anymore. The moment you decide to make some money from this is a business. It's not a
yeah.
hobby.
I 100% agree with you here, and it's a completely different story yeah, if it's a hobby or if it's a business, it definitely changes. So yeah, and you sort of adapt to these changes, or if you don't adapt, then that means it's just, maybe not working out for you as much, and maybe you need to think about, what's your actual purpose and what you really want to do.
Exactly.
But it's fine to ask questions, every day. Ask yourself, how you feel about it, and so on. I mean, I ask myself questions every day,
Yeah,
and
of
and
course.
it's normal. Yeah, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah, let
But
me ask you one question now. Why interiors sketches? Just
yeah, that's the question that a lot of people ask. Um, to be honest, I started doing interior sketching because I saw demand in it, as I think I mentioned before as well. Um, I basically saw an interest in it. I saw that people want to learn it, because I was trying out different things. I didn't just focus on like one thing. I was doing workshops, and different types of workshops. I was doing
Mhm.
primarily sketching, but I was doing like watercolor sketches. I was doing, like urban sketching and so on. So all sort of different things. And then I sort of started going into perspective and showing how to do perspective. And I saw a lot of interest in that, in like architecture, perspective, and interiors. And I just started focusing on that because I saw that, people, buy tickets, they come over,
Mhm.
are interested. So it's kind of happened to me as a business kind of decision, if that makes sense, more than something like artistic.
Yes, of course.
I love to draw anything, to be honest, but if I ask myself now what I like to draw, it would definitely be interiors, it would definitely be architecture, and it would probably be fashion illustration, because it's something that I enjoy doing. It's just I haven't done fashion illustration for a very long time now, but it's something that I want to get back to eventually as well. So it's sort of like I started to fall in love with it more and more as I started doing it, if that makes
Of
sense.
course.
Yeah, and with COVID, I just focused on interiors because there's a lot of interior design students and a lot of interior designers who want to learn how to do it. So I just threw myself out there and started helping these people out. That's why,
This
yeah.
is great because there are so many interior designers and architects insecure about their sketches.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I'm I'm one of them. I will book your course for sure. I would be a client for sure. I actually had to do some sketches for this interior design course, and it was like a huge challenge for
Sure.
me.
What did you do?
Really.
How did you do them eventually? How did you end up submitting them?
It cut your question.
Yeah, the sketches. How did you end up like doing them? Like you said, you struggled with sketching. How did you end up?
Yeah, they gave a whole orientation how to do it, so I just follow everything strictly, from two points, and then I start to sketch step by step the way they explain, and then I've done it.
Right, right. And it was
Yeah,
like online classes, or it was more like in a book.
it
You get
was
like
it was online, but also it was through a PDF. It was through a book. It was,
okay.
it wasn't a class, someone telling, talking. It was like a PDF. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was that, yeah. And then I designed actually a space like a living room, and then I did a sketch from this living room, and it was nice. I mean, I was not happy about the result, like, okay, this is a beautiful drawing, no, but I was happy with the challenge, to put myself there and to draw that, and then it was a good experience, I must say.
Yeah,
Kind
100.
of unblocked some limitations I had inside me already. Yeah. So I have more questions for you here as well. So
Yeah.
when did you see? Actually, you answered this already because I just had this question about when did you see a business opportunity? So you just said this already. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I but
When did you feel that you could be a professional artist? You kind of went through this.
um to be honest, for me, I always wanted to do what I love, and initially I really wanted to go into fashion design, but then I sort of, to be honest, I became scared and I thought it's just never going to work out because fashion world is very competitive and very difficult. So I ended up going into art, which is not easier at all.
No.
But I actually studied art history. as my degree as well. So I did that. But yeah, when I graduated, basically I realized that, I'm not happy with like being this person who's trying to search for a dream job and, constantly applying. Someone telling me that, rejecting me, or someone's telling me that I'm not good enough. I didn't like that kind of like, I hate this idea of going into an interview,
Oh
being
my
in.
God, I'm seeing
I
myself
hate
so
that.
much into you, seriously.
Yeah, it's
I
like just
went through the same here in Germany. I didn't want to go through this whole application process, and it was very frustrating for me.
the most demotivating thing you can do in your life, and we all go through it.
Mm.
That's the system. And I just realized that, you know what, I'd rather die trying than die unhappy doing something that I don't like. And time is ticking, even though like I'm young, but still, I every day I think to myself, oh my goodness, I wish I started earlier. It would be
Yeah,
so better if I did.
time it's really important.
Oh
I
yeah,
do agree.
100%.
Mm.
So I ended up at first working somewhere where I didn't enjoy. It was like an office kind of job. And yeah, then I realized, you know what, I need to make this happen. So I just thought, I'm just going to get out there and see how it goes. And I thought, if teaching is the only way, like doing workshops and teaching is the only way to do something that I love, which is art and create and visualize, then I'll do it.
Hmm.
So that's how it all started. I never thought that I would become some sort of like a sketching teacher, or I actually thought, you know what, I hate teaching, I would never want to teach. But
Really?
no one's gonna buy my sketches or paintings, right, if I just sit there and not do anything. So I thought, well, if teaching is the only way out of this system, then I'll do it. And to be honest, it happened that I am helping a lot of people, and maybe it's my purpose. You never know, right? You can die and you don't know whether that's your purpose or not. But I think probably it is. For me, is expanding people's minds
Yeah,
about
and
art.
breaking limitations, right? Because
Yeah, exactly. I
uh,
hate. Yeah,
create so many limitations to we block our minds, we block our talents with
always,
very silly
constantly we
limitations,
do.
right?
Yeah, every
Mm.
day people
Yeah,
do
and,
it.
that's really a lot from the purpose of Mandala's Atelier, because I know the whole website is in German, so it must be hard to read, but you can also use the translation there. And I talk about this because the purpose of Mandala's Atelier is to develop the artist that everyone has inside.
Exactly. Everyone has an artist
Everyone
inside.
has it. Everyone. You just need to develop, to give it a chance. Open yourself. And I love mandalas exactly because of this. You don't need to have any ability, drawing anything,
No,
nothing.
I
You
mean it's
you just
sketching.
need to have an open mind. Come, put your heart there,
Open
and
minds.
we teach you step by step how to draw your mandala. And this is for me. It's like it's really a purpose. Open the door the same way someone opened to me. And it doesn't mean that you are going to become an artist or a mandala artist or nothing related to this, but maybe this will connect to you with your purpose, with your dreams, because that's what happened to me. Mandalas and the art, they open this whole world for me now. And as interior designer now, I'm able to put everything together. Biophilic design, sustainability, and all I love, colors, the effect they have on us. All I love, I can put it together. And this is thanks to this mandala workshop. Everything
Yeah,
started there.
absolutely. That actually also interesting, because one of the questions that I also wanted to ask you, which I wrote down, is about if
Mhm.
you're considering yourself more as an artist or more as an interior designer, or both. Like, how do you,
I
what
see
do
myself as an artist doing interiors.
you? Hmm. Yeah,
Because, as I said, interior design for me, it's about putting everything together. And when I do interior project, I really get to know the client, the taste, personality. I try to capture their soul and translate this into interior design, into space. And this is for me, this is art for me. There is no other way to describe interior designer. When when you do this with your heart, when you really try to capture the soul of your client and show their personality in their spaces, I think that's for me art.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Mm. Let me move my computer. Okay. Here, I have another question for you. What made you work online? What was it? When was like, okay,
I
now I
think,
need to go online?
yeah, I think it's probably the most obvious answer is the lockdown. The start of COVID obviously made me move everything to online. Well, there was actually a choice whether to stop doing what I was doing, which was teaching and hosting workshops at different offices, co-working spaces. I was like everywhere all the time. And I thought, okay, so am I stopping this and waiting for this pandemic to be over, or am I using it and making, myself, improving myself and making myself even better? And obviously, yeah, I just started online. The transition happened like within 2 weeks. I didn't even sit there and like, oh, the world is crashing, what should I do? I never sat like this. I don't understand people who just sat there for a year or for 6 months waiting, for something, a miracle to happen and this whole thing to be over. I was never a person like this. I'm a go and get it person. So yeah, so basically I started with having like maybe one person in a workshop, and then obviously eventually, since people were at home, they wanted to book the courses, they wanted to learn how to sketch, and I started building that further. So yeah, that's basically how it happened.
Great. Yeah, that's how it happened to me, for me as well, because due the COVID, I had to stop my workshops, face-to-face workshops that I was doing here.
Of
And
course.
then I was like, okay, what I would do? Okay, I think I need to use this time for something. I can't work anymore because the season was over, the bar was closed. I couldn't host any workshops anymore due to COVID. And then, okay, now I'm going to study interior design. I'm going to specialize myself in biophilic design, and I'm going to start my online business for this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't feel confident enough to go through online workshops with Mandaluz Atelier, especially because I was doing this. The language is German, so
Mm.
teaching in German for me, presential is one thing, I can do it, but online, I was like, okay, I can do this now. It's just
Mm.
not for me. I'm still not ready for this. And then that's why I decided to go through interior design and started my business online.
I see. Okay, so basically pandemic. I mean, a lot of interior designers who I speak, every day, like, and they tell me the same thing, that because of COVID, they started doing that because they
Mm.
just changed their careers. And yeah, I think lockdown has just had an impact on that.
Totally.
100.
Also, I think everyone start to realize how important it is to take care of our homes, our spaces where we live. Because of course, like you right now, you're living here and there, right? You don't have a place right
No,
now. Yeah,
no.
but for you it's different. You are renting spaces, but most of us we are just staying in our homes.
Yes.
Then we start to realize how important it is to have a good space where you feel welcome when you
Yeah.
come,
Of
or
course.
you're working also from home doing home office, then it's even more important because how to focus, how to you need to build a space where you feel motivated to work.
Yeah, 100%.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have that many distractions and so on. So I think everyone start to realize how important our interiors are at this moment.
Yeah. No, definitely. And actually, regarding your mandala workshops as well, and you said that you started doing interior design. Are you still sort of considering your artistic activity as a business, or it's more something that you want to get back to it maybe after this whole situation ends? How do you see it potentially evolving for you, or you want to do both things together, interior design?
I had to take a break due to the situation, but now summer is back. Summer is starting here in Germany after a very shy, rainy spring. It was really, really hard. And then I think now I can start to host some workshops again, especially with yoga studios. I already have a few contacts with some people I know
Oh,
here.
so you
And
want to?
yeah, they want to organize a few workshops together. So I think it's going to be my okay, now I'm back. But
Yeah.
definitely want to keep both business. Of course, for now, I'm focused more on loose interior design because, you know, I need to put some energy there to grow
Mm,
this business. And of course, at the same time, I'm going to organize a few workshops, but it's like, it's not going to, it is not like I'm not going to work for Mandalus Atelier Monday to Monday, you know, it's going to be more
yeah,
like a weekend activity,
weekend
one
activity.
or two workshops per week, but it's definitely still my business and it's going to be my business and I want to keep working in both,
Mm,
definitely.
that's great.
Mm.
That-
And I also have a few questions for you about this. Do you still do face-to-face workshops or only online? Easier
Uh,
to work only remotely?
yeah, so my ideal plan would be to continue working remotely and to move around places because I really enjoy this kind of like a nomad lifestyle, you know, where you just like
Yeah,
travel
it's great.
place. And I would love to host workshops in different countries. Like if I get invited to do one in Dubai, I would go to Dubai. You know, I don't care. I actually would prefer to host workshops outside of London because so far I only did them in London. And I would love to, you know, host them around the world. But
Yeah.
obviously, I get very famous to do that. At the moment, I'm not that famous. So yeah, just share my page, and obviously I'll get more invites probably. But
Yeah, I hope so. Imagine it. We could totally do host a workshop
it
together
would be great.
somewhere.
It would. This is the best thing about what I'm doing about Behind Canvas is that I meet people like you. I meet people, you know, who if I go to Germany, I've got a few people that I want to meet already. You know, I've got
Of
you and
course. I hope, right?
girl, definitely 100%, and it's great. You end up meeting friends, and it's the best thing, you know. And I love doing face to face. Don't get me wrong, but when you're doing it online, you're open to the world. You
Of
know, you're
course.
open
Of course.
absolutely everyone who can speak English. So that's why I'm doing it. So we'll see how it happens. I mean, before I just wanted to get a studio in London, and I wanted to, you know, yeah, have a studio in central London and just teach art there, teach sketching, and get, you know, more teachers in and sort of do
More
like.
traditional, right?
Yeah, I still want a studio, to be honest. If I settle down, you know, somewhere, I will always consider opening a studio up. I really hope that it would be possible because I would love to have a space, you know.
Yeah, I can
Game.
understand. Me too.
And I'm sure if you really want it, and if you're going towards it, you will eventually get it. You will find ways. I mean, life will just give it to you eventually, you know.
Of course.
You just
Yeah.
have to wait.
It is really crazy. I really believe like universe just bring
Me too.
everything we need. It's
Absolutely.
yeah, just open yourself, visualize, and things are going to happen. Just
Definitely.
yesterday, I closed my first biophilic design project for Germany. It's going to be a whole apartment, and I'm so excited about it. And I,
That's
and at the
right.
same time, I just got a call from a real estate company in Portugal. And the guy basically just, he doesn't know what is biophilic design, but basically he described biophilic design from everything he said, what he wants, it's by
I,
design purely. And it was just like, you know, when the perfect client get in touch to you, and then
oh yeah,
they describe everything they want, and okay, you're just describing biophilic design. This is
yeah.
crazy. And now I believe in energy, I believe in universe. You know,
Me too.
me too.
Me too. Yes, I mean, to be honest, this is just there's lots of evidence about it. And if you see people, let's say, if you see someone who doesn't believe in himself, or people maybe who are doing something they hate, they will never be healthy people. You
No.
know, never. You will always see them being sick. You will always see
Yeah.
them being anxious. You will always
Because
see them.
it's all here, right?
Yeah,
Our
all
mind. We
mind.
create our reality totally. I mean, I'm not as stupid. I'm not as stupid. I know that some people they don't have any opportunities and they have really they struggle because they don't have like a family where you know I had a family. I had some structure in my life so then I could study, I could grow myself, I could learn, I could develop myself. Some people they don't get the same opportunities, but I'm not talking about this, you know, I'm talking about people that always
Yeah,
had opportunities. They had as you know as much as me or even more, and they are there living into this whole just
yeah,
complaining, being negative. So this will
plain-
never change.
yeah.
Definitely.
I can't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is a very interesting question. Like, it was very, very difficult for me to call myself as an artist at the beginning. You know, okay, I start to paint mandalas, and now I'm going to do an exhibition. So I need to call myself as an artist, you know, because you know what I did. I print a few posters, not a few, 20 online. I made a poster for my exhibition, and then I put it inside my backpack. I took my bike, and I was going into places
I
here, stores, and I knocking on the door and telling,
yeah,
"Hello, I'm an artist.
yeah,
I'm doing
yeah,
an
yeah,
exhibition.
yeah.
Can I hang my poster here?" And
I
they
did.
were really welcome. There was no space who told me, "No, you can't." Everyone was very sympathetic, and of course I had to do this in speaking German. You know, it was even it was really challenge for me, and call myself as an artist. Okay, okay, so
Yeah,
let's
but
do it.
who? Listen, if you call yourself an artist, you're an artist. You know, who is there to tell you who, you know, if you're an artist or not? You don't have to have a degree in it.
Yes,
You,
exactly. And how was this for you?
you don't- I never struggled with calling myself a professional artist. To be honest, I actually never thought about it, but it was never, yeah, because I remember myself drawing all my life, you know. I mean, I always liked it, but I never did it like professionally until I moved to UK. And when I started doing professionally, I just realized that I'm really good at this. You know, and I and it's not because I just, you know, could like sit there and just draw something out. No, you know, people think, oh, you know, I can't draw from my head. I'm not an artist. Listen, I can't draw from my head as well sometimes. You know, this is, you know,
Inspiration.
yeah, you're not supposed to draw from your imagination. You're supposed to draw originally from some objects, and then eventually you will start having something in your head which you can draw out. I never sit here like, oh, what should I draw? Never. I
Yeah,
take and
of course.
use it as an,
There is a creative process to go
yeah,
through.
exactly. People just think that, oh, if I can't do it from my head, then I'm not going to do it at all. Well, again, that's a very limitless, you know, kind of thinking.
Yeah,
So
you
basically,
develop this with time, totally.
exactly. So I never really had an issue with calling myself a professional artist. I always kind of knew, oh, this is what I love doing, and I think I'm good at this, and I'm gonna try. And I was always like very hardworking in a class. Like I could see other, like, you know, people that I had in the class, and they were, you know, they were good at art as well, but they just never did it as a passion like I did. Like I was there like 5 hours sketching, creating some samples, doing something, you know, even on my lunch breaks. I never just like, I was quite antisocial in school, to be honest, in English school. So I never really had friends. So I just like sat in this class, and I was just creating all the time and dreaming about, you know, who I want to become. And to be honest, I'm one of least people who actually moved out of this city where I used to live, because I didn't live in London. I lived outside of London.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I obviously started living in London because I got a degree there and so on. But some people are still living where they are. And for me, it's always a question, you know, how do you live in this small city, like small town, and you don't want to get out of it? You don't want to do anything. And it's really weird. But I guess everyone has their own, you know,
Yeah.
lives,
I
opinions.
think it's not a question about where you are. It's a question about where you want to be.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you are living in a small town and that's your goal, that's what you want, that's
Yeah.
okay. If you're living in a big city, that's your goal, that's what you want, fine. The
Yeah.
problem is if you are unhappy with the situation and you do nothing to change.
Oh, yeah. But that's what most people do. They don't
Yeah,
do.
exactly. Exactly. You just keep
Yeah.
complaining and keep doing the same thing and you expect a different result. Sorry,
Exactly.
it's never gonna happen, you know. If you want, I know it's a very cliche thing, but if you want a different result, you need to start to do something different.
Yeah, it's cliche, but people just don't want to hear uh, that it's hard. They want to hear, oh, give me 3 simple steps, and I'll do them, and I'll get what I
They
want.
want
But
a formula, right?
yeah, give me that magic pill. But there
Yeah.
isn't no magic pill here. You
No, no.
have to work your ass off, and that's the reality. You know.
Exactly, exactly. And most likely you have to do a lot of things you don't like, you
Oh
don't
yeah.
appreciate, because it's okay, the things we like to do, it's a small percentile in the whole process. You have to do with so many things, opening your business and doing something for yourself. You share a lot of this here now, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
love this. I love how much you are sharing. I love how open and honest you are. I think you're going to inspire a lot of people, and also at the same time, you are showing the reality that it's not that easy, that you're not going to be rich day
No,
to night. It's not like this.
no, not at all. I mean, I think a lot of people who watch my stories, they kind of understand that, I'm not saying that it's all easy. It's not at all. I'm just trying to get there. I'm trying to show people that, it is possible, but you just never know when you will get there. But as long as you're doing, yeah, you will eventually get there. We actually have a comment as well from This is Interiors. Totally agree, never complain, always seek for a solution step by step. 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
with more.
I wouldn't say never complain, because sometimes even I'm a very positive and optimist person, but sometimes even I complain about
I
something. The
always complain.
difference, the difference, it's just like I realize that I'm complaining, and then okay, let's change this thought. Let's think differently. Let's stop to complain and let's move for a solution. It's okay, because sometimes shit happens, It happens
Oh
with.
yeah, it happens quite often.
Sometimes you just need to complain for a while, even cry, scream,
Yeah, of course.
whatever is your thing to get out
Yeah,
of your system. But then after, okay, this is over. Now it's time to react. And I think that's the big difference about people who are just there complaining and people that who are out there doing it like you.
yeah. By complaining out loud, you can find the solution. Oh yeah, I mean, I complain. I mean, I wouldn't say I complain like every day. I complain to myself every day. I'm always like unhappy that where the things are going, and I need to do better. But it's often, yeah, you just need to sit down and really, praise yourself for what you have already achieved, because not many people have done the same thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, not only complaining out loud, but sometimes just having a conversation and talking out loud about the problem, trying to figure out a solution, talking with someone else, usually my husband, poor man, he always need to listen everything. And then
Poor guy, really.
I'm
I
talking and talking
sorry.
and talking, and I find the solution with my talking. He doesn't
Yeah,
need to say a
I'm
word.
exactly the same. Exactly. We need that help. I mean, especially as girls as well. We get very emotional about things. We really need that support.
Well, we are not, we are artists, right?
Oh, yeah,
We are,
especially.
it's all about emotion.
But
It
you
can
know
be
what?
different,
Actually,
right?
I realized that it doesn't matter if you're an artist or not. Just in general, being a woman is already, a very emotional task. So
Exactly,
I,
exactly.
I know people who are maybe not creative and they still have these up and
Up
downs.
and downs. Well, we have this up and downs every month, right?
Yeah,
28 days, we have
exactly.
an up and down again and again.
Yeah,
There is no such
I
a
have it every day, to be honest. So for me, it's a constant roller coaster.
Exactly. Well, I think my last question, I think you also answered, but I will do it anyway, just in case if you have something to add.
Yeah.
What's the impact of the current worldwide situation in your business, the virus, COVID?
It had a great impact on me personally. Actually, the fact that everything is open is having a bad impact on my business. I'll be honest about it, and I think I shared in my stories as well about my profits. They have
Yeah.
and that's because people are out enjoying the weather and they don't care about sketching at the moment, which is obviously not a good thing for me. So in these situations, I mean, to be honest, like running a business is like you can never be satisfied. Every day, like you think, okay, this is going good, but tomorrow it can all go to shit again tomorrow, and then the next day, oh, it's all good again, and then it's shit again. So it's like I'm still getting used to that whole thing, and yeah, I would say that like last month, for instance, last May was the best month I ever had, you know and obviously this year May is probably one of the shittiest months I ever. And I think it's only gonna go worse. Like the summer, obviously, is going to be quite difficult, I think, for me.
Mm-hmm.
But you just have to, yeah, you just have to find ways. So other ways how you're going to
Yeah,
attract people.
because it's seasonal, right? Some seasons you
Yeah, yeah,
have better result. Summer, it's really a time where people usually want to enjoy vacation and they don't want to learn how to sketch, interiors. It's because this is connected to the profession. It's connected with artists, with interior designers, and people want to rest. They want to just enjoy the beach. They don't want to work during vacation, usually, right? And
usually, yeah, that's the.
yeah, some people like me, for example, they enjoy the free time to learn.
Yeah, I never relax. So for me, it's always a question: how do you guys relax? How
Yeah,
do you?
yeah, I always do something, but actually, after I moved to Germany, one thing they teach me here is about resting and make having vacation. They really give a big importance to this, free time, your vacation and everything you do for yourself as something that it's going to improve your productivity during work, that you're going to produce much more, your concentration is going to be better
Mm,
at work if you are rested. And they really encourage you to go through
go.
your vacations, not only taking a few days, no, take 2 weeks, take your time.
I think when you're working, it's easy, but when you have a business, it's very hard to just switch off and not do
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
I have to force myself to.
Especially at the beginning, because I think, I mean, different perspectives of beginning, because I think when we are okay 2 3 years until 5 years of your business, I think it's still the beginning,
I think.
yeah. So I think that okay, this is the time where you need to put a lot of effort, all your energy to grow your business. Maybe after that you are going to be able to relax, to take a few days off and just switch
It's
off, but until there we are 100% of the time connected, through
uh,
Instagram, through WhatsApp, whatever. Like, technology is here to help us to be close with our clients, but at the same time it's always there, so you're never offline, you're always online. It's really a big challenge.
uh, percent. I actually read an article about Elon Musk, and I think he had about like 14 days off since, like, I don't know, since 10 years or something. Like in 10 years, basically. In 10 years, he only had 14 days off. And at first,
14.
yeah, 14. At first,
Wow.
I think even less, to be honest, not even 14. At first, it shocked me, but then I thought, you know what? I'm actually probably in the same position because I never have a day off when I'm not doing anything. That
Mm.
just
Yeah,
work and.
but then there was a big difference, right? Because I think you are also living a more balanced life. Like, I also I'm looking for this, and I try to do this every day in my daily routine. Okay, I'm working, but now I will take 2 hours off and I will go to the beach. Like yesterday or the day before, I don't remember. We just took our bikes and we just went to the beach. We were there. We lying
Yeah,
down.
as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm not taking vacation and being off for 30 days, but every day I get to manage my time and I have my free time the way I want. Of course, if there is important meeting with a client and he doesn't have another time, I will schedule him whatever it's best for the client. But usually I can manage my time. And now it's summer and I really like to have a break during the afternoon between 3 and 5 or 3 and 6. I
Mm.
love I love to have a break at this time. Just take the bikes, go to the lake, enjoy the sun, and then I'm back. I have dinner, and then I'm back working, and then I work late. I work until 10,
Yeah,
11,
I
whatever.
really kind of approach. I'm the same. Like I can work sometimes at as well at 12 like a.m. I don't care. And that's another reason why I opened business. I always wanted flexible working when I
Exactly.
work, not because I have to be at work from 9 to 6. I hate that. I
Mm.
would never be able to go back to the
Me
office.
neither. Me neither. My God, I am self-employed as like so long. I mean, I started my business. I was 21 years old. 20, yeah,
I
21.
started at 21. I started at 23, I think.
Yeah. So I'm 30 now. Okay, let's be honest here. I'm already 30. Since then,
You
I'm
don't look
always
very at all.
working like this, okay, I manage my time, I can do whatever I want. Of course, it's not all okay, wow, this is great. We need to deal with up and downs every month. We
Of
don't
course.
get to know like the amount of money we are going to receive in the end of the month.
No,
This is challenge. Of course, it's not for everyone because
no.
if you are someone who is going to be crazy with not knowing, then this is not for you. You need to really learn how to control your anxiety and understand that business are not how we say are not so constant. It will
No, no,
happen.
but I think you also learn it through because to be honest, I I always liked consistency and I always liked knowing what's gonna happen tomorrow. But my bigger purpose was to be free, like I said, to be free from the system, to be, to do what I want
Mm.
and to be flexible about it. So for me personally, I'm learning to accept this inconsistency
Of
because
course, you need to choose which problem you want to deal with. You want
yeah,
to
it's
deal with the problem that
problem.
you have no flexibility, you can't manage your time, or you want to deal with the problem about because of course no one is happy to not knowing how much we're going to have
Yeah,
how next month. Of course, we want to have some security. This is normal, it's part of life. But you have to choose the problems you want to deal with,
of
and
course.
we both chose like, okay, we are going to deal with this inconsistency, but we are getting our free time and we are managing our schedules and everything. We're going to have our freedom. For example, right now I'm planning some vacation, but it's not going to be vacation. I'm planning to go to Brazil and stay there for a month, but I'm going to be working.
Yeah, of
Well,
course.
I will just, pack my laptop with me, and that's it. I'm going to be there working a whole month, but enjoying the beach, enjoying the
I
sun.
mean,
It's
that's no, I don't sunbathe every day. I mean, yeah, I go to the beach every day, but I work every day, So
no.
something that people kind of mistake. But I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to have this lifestyle. So for me, it's working perfectly. I'm just wondering, we've got a few more minutes left. I
Okay.
I think I'm personally finished with the questions. I don't
Yeah,
know if
too.
yeah, because I'm
Yes.
just if you want to post this in your feed, then we will have to end the stream in 2 minutes. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if anyone who's watching us maybe have any questions. Obviously, we had one from often TC Interior, and I don't know if there's anyone else who wants to maybe point something out or not. But yeah, I actually wanted to point something out about
Okay.
yeah being a narcissist, and I think to summarize what we have been talking about today is that I think we all really need to, expand our minds more, and we really need to accept the fact that it's life is not black and white. Even though we think that, I don't know, graduating with like a law degree or something will get you everywhere in life and you'll be successful. It's not the case. If you're doing something that you hate and you don't like, you really need to, to change that. Otherwise, you're going to live a very miserable life. Let's be honest.
Of course.
So I think I mean, personally for me, the purpose is to, expand people's minds so they understand that being an artist, maybe it's not easy, but no business is easy.
No, but
Nothing there is busy. If I was to start, I don't know, selling trainers, even though everyone's wearing trainers, what is the probability that my trainers, will be successful? It's very low because I have a lot of competition and so on. So I think what we really need to understand here is that we need to be more adaptable and flexible and just never put people in boxes. And I think it's something that we all just constantly do. Boxes,
time,
one
all the
is
time.
that. And it's awful, we really need to stop doing that. And I think
Yeah.
what I'm trying personally to translate, and I think through what you're doing as well, you're trying to show to people that there's an inner artist in everyone and they just need to open it up. But if you're not opening it up, it will never open up, basically. It's
Of
like,
course, it's not
yeah,
coming out alone. You need to do your part.
exactly, 100%. So, I mean, I really hope that eventually people will sort of start understanding that it's not black and white, and in interior design as well, it's not an easy sector to be in at all, to be honest.
It's really hard because there is so many interior designers in the market right now, and everyone is going into the online business.
Yeah, everyone is doing it, and
Yeah.
if it was easy, then the interior design would be very expensive to study, like
But
dentistry.
like every business, okay, it's hard because there is a lot of competition, but what you have, what you are, what you can offer, no one else can.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
one else
Yeah,
has your history. No one else has everything you went through, your experience, everything you have to share. So I think that's the thing, you know. Focus on what you are. No one else can be like you.
definitely. I cannot agree more. And I think we will unfortunately have to end here because the time is now. And I
Yeah.
really hope that this,
Lemon tea leaving is saying you guys can talk. Oh yes, we can.
yeah, I think we'll go for another hour. Anyway, thank you so much for joining, Andressa. I'm sure we'll do another one. And
Thank you, Stephanie.
soon.
I'm really glad to be here. Bye bye.